It was a first-time offering of an Indigenous business course. So the course code was 3200 GBS, and it was held and delivered in summer semester 2015. There was 19 on campus, and I had 25 online students. So it's a dual mode course, and it was held as in intensive mode. We did do some preliminary survey of our students, and what we found is that about 89–90% of the students had little or no knowledge or experience in using e-portfolios. I had no experience whatsoever. The main reason I went through and looked at e-portfolios was because of Andrew Winehoven, our blended learning advisor, who had some experience in the technology side of things.
Yeah, so going back to April last year, I'd come across Pathbright as a free e-portfolio, and it happened that Kerry was telling me about her e-portfolio project for the course 3200 GBS, and so it really pricked my ears up and got the discussion going.
Coming from a traditional accounting background and also, teaching only in accounting, so that means that everything was all traditionally run, face-to-face lectures, assignments and assessments were all paper-based, very conservative, no innovation, that type of thing. So coming into a dual mode course, it was, I was guided by our Dean of Learning and Teaching to try and bring in some really innovative teaching.
For students on a summer semester, they're typically driven, they want to get their course done quicker, they're engaged students already. They really got excited by using this tool for its assessment piece.
The main sort of points and the benefits of that was presented is that you can upload traditional types of assessment, like Word documents, that were all set out in the traditional manner. You could also embed all the artefacts, all the reference sites that the students had been when they've researched the topic. And I thought this was probably the selling factor for me, is that students who didn't want to do an academic paper were introduced to a way that this could be then used and also carried on into their work environment.
Easy to use, something that was also transferable, is it something they could take away at the time they finished here, which Blackboard does have. Something also added inbuilt help guides and how-to videos. So options like Pathbright were really neat and contemporary, had some fantastic videos, they're a great YouTube site.
I started talking to different people, so peers, other colleagues, the blended learning advisors, and getting just a list of other types of e-portfolio programs, so that I can then have a look at that and compare them to what we had with the Blackboard. And when we looked at it, even though it was quite simple and easy to use, I felt that it also provided the opportunity to be able to use our inbuilt online marking rubrics, etc. We found as we were implementing the e-portfolio that I still had to give some students other options.
So the way we went about it, well, for Kerry and I, we did a lot of planning in setting up. Kerry and I met quite often in the lead up to the summer semester, so through the semester 2 last year. We're looking at the current portfolio, how we could use it. So in that, we started to create some exemplars. We also started to create some how-to guides. So I made some screencast videos of how to create your portfolio, also how to share it with Kerry for submission.
Well, I had to develop the assignment instruction sheet and all the criteria that goes with it. So making sure that my learning objectives and learning outcomes for the course aligned with what I was trying to get the students to do in the assignment for to use the e-portfolios. So in discussions with our curriculum consultant in developing rubrics and doing our curriculum mapping so that we made sure that everything that we'd assigned to the students, we had a complete logical order in which to tick that criteria.
So with this current version that we're using for e-portfolios, we're able to use a Blackboard rubric, attach it to the Mark Centre, so that when Kerry marked the course, she was able to select each criterion that suited and which automatically calculated a score. So when the students went to my mark to see what score they got, they also got a really neat rubric which gave them a nice clear descriptor of why they got a certain score, and also each criterion had a feedback for each of them as well. So it sort of closed the loop on the full experience for the students.
I suppose the most difficult thing was my own inexperience at first, and when you're also developing a new course that's never been delivered before, it's the first Indigenous business course to be offered in the Griffith Business School. So that took 12 months in the making. So again, having confidence in knowing about that and also not really understanding e-portfolios before. But one not shy of technology, I grasped it with both hands and thought, well, this is so exciting for me to learn at the same time. The students actually embraced it. I got some great feedback from them with their the student evaluations. I also had one student that emailed the Vice-Chancellor, and he is a student that travels the world, and he was able to work on it as he was going around. So he was, really, sort of very supportive of it. But the best thing about it is that it's taught me that not only can it be used in this context, but I can take it into the traditional environments of accounting and, hopefully sort of try and break the traditional mode of the way that we assess them in the conservative environment.
I think what was prevalent, I was aware of, was that the students really got the pedagogy of this course, which was about the storytelling, the narrative. So I was quite aware that when we looked at the submissions, the students had created quite a story within their portfolio. I think that was a real win to see the students grab a hold of this and really create a story, but also use the digital artefacts to a great benefit as well. I think we should really investigate not just a course approach, but like a program approach to portfolios, like a portfolio of our learning throughout our journey. So for students to really have something, I know that employability is a big flag at the moment for universities. So students can show a portfolio of what they've done and to use it effectively, whether it be the Blackboard e-portfolio tool or an external one. I think if we can sort of embed this pedagogy into our teaching, I think it'll be something of real value to our students.
It's about talking to everybody. So from the people that would be curriculum consultants, it would be from your blended learning advisors, anyone that's an expert that you think that's in that area. Go and sit down with them and make sure you keep, sort of talking about different ways of making it more efficient. So that'd be the first one. I'd also think that having a database of staff that have used it so that you can, and that will be available for you to be able to go and, knock on their door and say, hey, I've got a question about this. How did you, get around that particular challenge? So those that are willing to be mentors. So that'd be the other. And finally, I think it's about having exemplars that students can use, because most of the students were saying, well, we wanted to see what one looked like. So that was one of the challenges and the issues I did face, because again, first-time user for me, first-time user for them, so I had nothing for them to actually look at so they could compare it.
So I think the big three for me are use your resources. There are great resources on Learning at Griffith about how to use e-portfolios. Of course, then we've got the resources that are curriculum consultants, educational designers, blended learning advisors who are in that space. So use them as much as possible. The next one for me is that to test, create your own. So don't be afraid to go and set up your own Pathbright account. Start playing with that because there's nothing wrong with feeling like a student again to get that true experience. I think a last point as well for me, a big one, is to really set the scene, and Kerry did this really well in this course. Set the scene as to why we're using this, and the fact that, okay, we're using this ePortfolio tool as an assessment, it's something that's also transferable into your profession. So I think those are my big three. So support, test it yourself, and set the scene.